Hi, this is Wendy, your host for Community Matters here on JoyFM, and today we're going to be talking with Miss Jessica Duke, the CEO and founder of Friends of the Troops. Friends of the Troops supports veterans and deployed and stateside service members by sending them cards and care packages, and they also help the families in their times of need if they have a crisis situation that may come up that they need some help with. Friends of Troops works hard to make sure that every new recruit, service member, and veteran knows that their country is grateful for their service. So thank you, Ms. Duke, for being here with us today. We truly appreciate your time that you're giving us.
Well, thank you for the opportunity.
I was looking forward to all this information. I have several questions for you. The first one I always ask is just to tell me just a little bit about yourself and how this organization kind of got started.
We are finishing up our 6th year. So we founded the organization 6 years ago. I had been volunteering with a major military nonprofit for several years. The longer that I was with that organization, I kept seeing more and more people fall through the cracks. And it became apparent that while there were a lot of good programs out there that were helping our service members or veterans, a lot of people were very simply falling through the cracks or being missed. And, upon doing more and more research, there's virtually no resources for these individuals. So that's basically what prompted the founding of Friends of the Troops. We filed the paperwork in 2018, and first official year was 2019, and very happy that not only did we grow and thrive during a pandemic, we are finishing up our 6th year, and we continue to grow every single year.
I was looking on your website when I came across this, and one of the things that stopped me on yours was just all the smiling faces that I saw. And there seemed to be a lot going on in some of those pictures, but everyone had a smile on their face. Can you tell us a little bit more specifically what Friends of the Troops actually does?
Absolutely. I'm smiling when you say that because one of the little hashtags I use on social media is send a smile. So, a lot of the service members that we support, they can be anywhere overseas. It does not have to be, just in the Middle East. We're supporting in all branches, all over the place, all throughout the Middle East, Eastern Europe, Korea, they're on Navy ships. We have them all over. I think the biggest thing for service members is to let them know when they're deployed that they're not forgotten and that people back home are thinking of them. A lot of them are sent to places where they can't get anything resembling the snacks from home or the little sweet treats, that they enjoy. Sending that type of thing over in a care package, that's what brings those smiles that you're seeing. And we often get emails back, oh my gosh, I haven't had Cheetos in forever, or, I miss Twinkies or a Little Debbie or whatever it is. We ask for their wish lists and things like that because we want to make sure they get things that they like. And They certainly appreciate that. But it's not just about that aspect of it. Part of the deployed support and the care packages, there's hygiene items that we send and other things that they actually need, wherever that is. Some are in remote locations. We actually saw some supply chain issues during the pandemic. Ironically and interestingly enough, we were able to get supplies over quicker than the military seemed to be able to. I don't know anything about that. That's just what we were told. But I learn things every day. I always ask questions, and I'm always amazed because I come from a very civilian background. I have a lot of relatives that serve in the military, but I didn't grow up in a military household. So I'm always asking questions because I want to know how we can help and how does it work? Because there's very much a big line between the civilian and the military world. So,
yes, very big.
So a lot of civilians don't really know how it works. And, I'm learning every day. It always surprises me to hear things like, now that we have females in combat, got them in the Middle East and things like that, serving overseas, to get messages like they have no access, or sometimes we have no access to feminine hygiene supplies, or can you help with XYZ? It could be anything from, we've even had people needing help with uniforms, which is just mind-boggling to me. But the feminine hygiene one kind of was one of the first instances of, oh my gosh, they're really limited in some instances with having access to real needs. And these were being told us not just by the troops themselves, but the chaplains were saying, hey, can you help? And that could be a multiple different factors that would go into that. It could be supply chain stuff. It could be based on their location. They were so remote. It was just harder to get things. Some locations that they call it a PX, like a little shop or store. Some of the troops, they work the night shift and they can never get there during the right time of day. we love sending those smiles, whether it's from a cookie or a, junk food, to be honest, to something they actually do need.
Yeah.
From body wash to toothpaste. Who knows?
Right. Well, as you say this, I'm thinking in my head, my son he's in the military, and right now he is deployed. The one thing that he always wanted when he goes to places, he was in South Korea a couple years ago, he wanted Pop-Tarts. He wanted Pop-Tarts. And I just got tickled. I'm like, of all the things, you want Pop-Tarts, but he wanted his Pop-Tarts.
It's kind of funny what they start asking for after they've been over there for a few months. I kind of always chuckle a little bit. And then you start to see pattern. And you can tell it's by the age. Like the younger ones, the youngest soldiers, they want those energy drinks.
Yeah.
They want that caffeine.
Yeah.
The older ones, that they might want a new book or, who knows, some good coffee because they can't get good coffee, or who knows what it is. But yeah, I mean, everything from absolutely Pop-Tarts. I think one of our most popular requests is gummy candy. Fruit snacks, gummy candy.
Oh, yes.
Things like that. They just love that stuff. We're always told whatever we do send is appreciated. They love that stuff.
So in other words, there's a lot of things that they kind of want. There's a lot of things that they need. Other than the gummies, is there something that they request the most? Like you mentioned books or even Twinkies, Cheetos. Is there something that you notice that they are requesting the most of?
It changes. Seems like every month. Spicy nuts, spicy things. They love spicy snacks.
I didn't think about that.
All kinds of things. Jerky, beef jerky always.
Yes.
Has been real popular. Especially things that they can, just throw in their pack or a pocket or something and just kind of go. But it changes from person to person and location to location. Okay. In the summer, we get a lot of requests for electrolyte drink mixes because they're sweating so much and want to make sure they stay well hydrated. It's always changing the needs. I mean, my goodness, but we do so much more than just the care packages. We have multiple programs, but the care package portion of our program, the deployed support, it's actually structured. A lot of our volunteers, we have volunteers, I think about 40 something states now. They handle the bulk of our deployed program. We have an amazing group of volunteers. They are the most generous and kind-hearted, patriotic Americans. I tell you, they would give anything. And we have some on disability and some come, with a lot of means. They'll do anything to put a smile on a service member's face.
Oh.
And so the way our program is set up, we actually do it sort of as a quote-unquote adoption. Mm-hmm. Service members can go to our website and sign up to be adopted. Once that sort of application, if you will, comes in, I try to match them with one of our volunteers. For that wish list, there's a place on there where they can put their wish list of items, the favorite snacks or things they miss from home and that sort of thing comes in. We try to find as good of a match as we can for the volunteer.
Yeah.
And what the volunteer does is basically send them a monthly care package for the duration of their deployment. And deployments, they can be 6-9 months or more, a year.
Yeah. About how much does an average care package cost?
Well, that's going to greatly depend on how big it is and what's in it and what that wish list is. And that's kind of where we I do present it to the volunteers to kind of, hi, I have these service members available for adoption. And I kind of let the volunteers pick based on the wish list because they know what also they can, afford. Mm-hmm. We don't want anybody to go overboard, because I do think it is the small gestures that matter.
Yeah.
You don't have to spend a fortune to do it. And a lot of our volunteers, it's been a tough year for a lot of people.
Yeah.
They'll go to Dollar Tree and that sort of thing, and you can fill up a box for, I don't know. It just depends on how big the box is. We don't require a certain size box. Some people will fill up the flat rate boxes, the medium or the large, mostly the large. But some will do their own boxes and decorate them. And let me put it this way. Some people spend, I don't know, could be 20-ish, 25 a month, maybe.
Yeah.
And some spend a lot more. Some people get very, very excited and love doing it. And they go crazy shopping and just get thrilled, doing it. But we certainly don't require anyone to go crazy. And I even limit what the service members are. There are limitations. You can't ask for a video game or play, a PlayStation or, anything like, come on.
Yeah, right.
Within reason, of course. But we do try to accommodate as much as we can. And we do, sometimes it's from t-shirts or workout clothes to socks and, of course, hygiene items and snacks more than anything, just because they go through food so fast.
Yeah.
So that's the thing we send more than anything is snacks.
Got to have those snacks.
Yes, absolutely. And what I do, I kind of supplement. So while our volunteers send a lot of individual care packages,
Yeah.
I do as the CEO every month. And what I'm able to do solely depends on what donations we have received. So we always need donations.
Mm-hmm.
What I do is pack up snacks or whatever donations we have every month, and I try to send to, I have, it varies from 1 to 2 dozen chaplains.
Okay.
Some are in the States, some are overseas deployed. I send things to those chaplains, and the chaplains distribute it to their troops to boost morale.
Oh,
So
that's cool.
that could be, and that's a way to cover a lot more troops.
Yeah.
It might be a smaller item. It might be, boxes of Rice Krispie treats or something, just for example, like those maybe they're out in the field and they'll pass out that or Slim Jims or something like that. So it might not be a whole care package box, but it's just, trail mix or whatever the case may be. But just to let them know, hey, somebody was thinking about you. And we do that, especially in the States as well, when they're out on field doing field trainings. Again, those electrolyte drink mixes, snacks, just, while they're taking a break. The troops in the States very often feel forgotten. I think a lot of people talk about Floyd, and the troops overseas. And of course, we appreciate what they do and sacrifice and, all that time from their families. And we would never, ever, ever dismiss that. That is such a huge, we love our deployed troops. But I think a lot of people tend to, frankly, forget about how many service members are here in the States.
Mm-hmm. And how far away they are from families.
Yes. So, and I think the last time I looked, it was something like 3/4 of our military is actually here in the States. Now, obviously that will change, and it constantly changes depending on what's going on in the world when they ramp up deployments overseas. But when I say stateside, and this is a civilian's vocabulary, if you will. I'm referring to the active duty troops at military posts and bases around the country. I'm referring to National Guard. I'm referring to the reservists in the different branches. For me, when I use that generic stateside term, I'm referring to a lot of different types of service members, the full-time active duty, and then you've got the reserve and guardsmen. That's one of the things that sets our organization apart from other organizations, is we really support a lot of those active guard and reserve troops. I haven't found any organizations that really funnel a lot of support and resources into those service members. They're important. They are deploying almost as much, maybe more in some cases, as the active duty guys. We're seeing them just constantly being called up and activated. Whether it's, like I said, a box from a chaplain or commander, just passing out snacks and goodies, or, when it comes to family support, which I know we haven't talked about yet, that's a really big need for a lot of those service members, especially the reservists and those in the Guard, because if they don't have a well-paying civilian job, they're struggling.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't realize that.
One of the questions that I did want to ask you was, as I was looking through your website, that something stood out to me. Not only do you help those who are deployed and those that are stateside, those individuals in the military themselves, but you also take care of their families. We
definitely do. A lot of people, myself included as a civilian before I started doing this, you don't really think a lot about military families necessarily, or I think the common misconception, let me back up. I think the common misconception is that if you're in uniform, you're fine. You're taken care of. I think a lot of people believe that, civilian-wise, not the military community that immediately be like, nope. That's been one of the things that I've learned throughout this journey of volunteering with another organization, then founding and running this nonprofit. Unfortunately, our troops and our military families are not all being provided for. Our organization focuses on the lower-ranking, lowest paid service members. Those are the ones that are going to need the help the most, or potentially need help the most. Not all of them do. Every situation is different. But if you're a low-ranking service member and you're the sole provider of your family and you have a couple of kids and you're a PFC, private first class, it may be a little hard to put food on the table at times. I'll be honest with you, I've been floored by some of the things that I've seen and heard and learned, because I really never thought that there were needs like this out there. People talk about veterans, homelessness, veteran needs. They talk about But they don't ever talk about or even consider, what about those that are still serving? Well, they must be fine. Well,
Yeah.
we learned otherwise. So, just to give you an example, last year, right here in Chattanooga, in one unit, an Army Reserve unit, we had 3 service members living in their cars. 3 in one unit. So if that could be a representation of the scope of how big this is, we're seeing more and more. This year, I've seen more very similar, either about to get to that point or couch surfing or, really having to move a whole family back into another family member because they can't afford, just the cost of living, for everyone has gone up.
It's hard out there.
It absolutely is. Unfortunately, the lower paid service members, while they are getting some pay increases, unfortunately, it just doesn't seem to keep up with inflation.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that we're seeing. So this year, we're seeing a lot of families that are having to make some really tough choices. And it's things like, do I put food on the table or do we provide Christmas for our kid?
Yeah.
Well, obviously you're going to put food on the table. Or I've actually, we had a couple service members that were juggling things like getting every other month, maybe getting behind on car payments, because car payment one month and food this month.
Right.
We have several that are missing meals. We had a single soldier dad living on ramen for 1 pack of ramen a day so he could provide for his kid.
Oh, that's terrible.
It kind of breaks your heart, honestly, some of these movies.
Truly.
But yeah, I've had a few confide in me and actually tear up on the phone, like, I'm missing meals, but I'll do anything to try to provide for my family.
Right.
They're a National Guard or a reservist, and they don't have a high-paying civilian job. They're taking second and third jobs. It's the spouses, if they're married, if they have multiple kids, it's more cost-effective for that spouse to stay home and take care of the kids than for them to try to pay for childcare, because the income from the job is going to be the same as the child care.
Yeah.
So it's, and I know a lot of families know how that goes. So it is really touching to hear these stories, and more importantly, to know that they don't have a lot of places to turn when they do hit, a challenging time. There's very few resources out there for these individuals. And that's kind of where we want to step up, and where we are stepping up and trying to help when we can. We rely solely on donations and funding to be able to help these service members and their families during these dire times. But it's not just at Christmas. We helped some of the families affected by the recent hurricanes. This last year, we helped a number of veteran and active duty families affected by tornadoes in Tennessee and Kentucky. We helped the military family after a house fire. The husband was deployed at the time, and they lost almost everything in a fire, so we kind of stepped up to help them. A lot of food insecurity, we'll step up for things like that. We try to help. We don't want to overlap if there is a resource that they can go to. We want to, we look for unique opportunities to help. We do, all the families that and service members that we do help, they come to us through they're vetted 2 to 4 times. Every single individual we help to make sure it is an actual legitimate need.
Yeah.
Would like to stress that. We work a lot with commanders of units, military chaplains. They'll reach out to us and say, hey, look, I have a service member, I have a soldier, they're really going through a tough time, an unexpected layoff, or, that someone had a health issue and they had to quit working. So all of a sudden there's some financial challenges. We really try to help. We love supporting the service members that are trying to help themselves and doing all they can. Right. But maybe they've just fallen on some rough times, had some bad luck, unexpected things life throws at you. I get it.
Yeah.
Get it.
Yes.
More than anything. And so those are the people we want to help.
Yeah.
But we do very, very thoroughly vet every situation to make sure it is a legitimate need. People don't typically just wander off the street and, hey, give me some money. Or
right.
This.
Yeah.
We do try to make sure and go through certain channels. Tennessee National Guard has a program. I won't get into specific terms, but in layperson's terms, I'll call them caseworkers, sort of liaisons, where they try to help soldiers in need, find them a resource to help them. So we work, and again, those are people that vet situations. So we partner with people like that to identify where's the biggest need? Where can we help the most? We just want to help. We
Yeah.
want to, whether it's to boost morale or help them meet a need that exists out there. And I would like to say, I'm really excited. I just found some numbers. I was curious to see, kind of, since we're getting close to finishing up our 6th year, I don't know if anyone might be interested to know, for a pretty small organization, some of our numbers.
Yeah.
We have sent out over 17,000 care packages in 6 years, which to me is mind-boggling because we're so small. That is a testimony to how amazing our volunteer base is. A lot of those packages were also sent here to those chaplains that I had mentioned, no matter what that was, individual care packages or specific donations that we received from a company, specialty treats of some kind. But over 17,000 care packages that's a lot.
That's a lot. That says a lot of you and this organization and the volunteers, that they're really committed to putting a smile on a service member's face.
Yes, and it's not just the service members, because I know a lot of programs do focus on active duty, Guard, and Reserve, because I mentioned that several times. Mm-hmm. But we do help and support veterans as well. And one of the biggest ways we do that is through our card program. So we actually, another statistic for you, we are getting close. This year we may hit it. We're very, very close right now, sending out 750,000 cards.
Wow.
We're currently about 730,000 cards. Now, when I say sending out cards, these are individual birthday cards to troops serving overseas, birthday cards to stateside troops or veterans for your service, type, or thinking of cards, Veterans Day cards, holiday cards, whatever. And we have had, that program has really touched the lives of hundreds of thousands of individuals, service members, veterans, and the like. The feedback that we get from troops and veterans both about the mail is very touching. We live in a world now where people don't really send a lot of mail, any physical mail anymore.
Right.
Email, it's Zoom, it's, whatever. We still kind of keep it old school. We like you to have something physical to touch and open and, that sort of thing. So the feedback, and we do post feedback at least once a week on our social media. Because we want people to be able to see and hear some of these testimonials that people are sending in.
Right.
For the troops overseas, someone the other day was like, I had a really bad day and then I came home to all this mail. For a troops in the States who definitely feel forgotten, they got a pile of birthday cards. It was like, gosh, somebody was thinking about me on my birthday. I didn't even get cards from my friends or family.
Yeah.
And then I think the most touching, though, is from some of the veterans, especially Vietnam era. I've had them call me in tears, crying, because it touched them so much. I got a phone call from a 101-year-old World War II veteran the other day telling us how much he appreciated getting mail all the time. A lot of us have created friendships with a lot of these amazing, the greatest generation.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Over the last 8-9 years, I have 2 veterans that I talk to on the phone every week. One is 97, World War II veteran, and one is 90. They're just the cutest things in the world, and they just form these friendships. And a lot of our volunteers have formed, some pen pal relationships with some of these people. But, in general, the cards do mean a lot. We have been told that they have brought a few people out of a very dark place to find out that someone was thinking about them at that moment. That card came at the right time.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
So, so we have the card program, the care package program. We have, we support families, and we've kind of tried to, my personal goal and our organization's goal is to really grow the assistance portion of our organization, that program. We really ramped it up in December of 23. We decided we wanted to expand and it started as just help at Christmas.
Right.
And we expanded to help throughout the year. So again, like I mentioned, house fires, tornadoes, hurricanes, whatever.
Right.
And food insecurity as it comes up. So we actually call that program our Military and Veteran Emergency Relief Program. And we've kind of put our Christmas assistance under that little umbrella. We've touched a lot of lives so far this year. We have already helped a lot of families this holiday season, and we We are, it's a very busy December, let's put it that way.
I bet so. I can only imagine.
Yes, we're seeing a lot of need out there. Again, a lot of people are having, a lot of military families are having to choose between, real necessities or providing a Christmas for their kids.
How can the community help you out in this situation?
Well, honestly, just like most other nonprofits, donations. That allows us, we are very proud of our rating.
Yes.
And transparency.
You have a Charity Navigator 4-star rating, which is one of the highest ratings that you can achieve.
It is. And our last review, we were given a 100% rating. We're pretty darn proud of that.
As you should be. It sounds like you work really hard. You put lots of smiles on people's faces.
Well, and the ratings come a lot from our transparency and how money is spent. So a lot of people, and I mean, I'm a donor too. I want to know, where's my money going if I donate to an organization or to a charity? Is it going to make a difference? Is it going to go where I want it to? Is it going to go towards something else? Not every organization is that super transparent with that. So with us, we have, it changes slightly every year, and it will change as we continue to grow. But I think this last year we're running about 98 cents of every dollar donated goes directly to our troops in our program. Our overhead is, we have run this thing on a shoestring because we want as much money to go towards to helping these individuals as possible.
Right.
Because there's so much need out there. We do need help. And there's a lot of ways that people can help. If people want to volunteer, they can. We have some volunteers that just send out cards. That's all they want to do is just send out cards. And that's fine. We always need volunteers to help with that.
And how do they sign up to do that?
They can go to our website, friendsofthetroops.org. There's a place to sign up to volunteer on our website. And we do, because of the nature of our organization, all of our volunteers must undergo a background check. We do foot the bill for that, but we do ask our a little of our volunteers if they do want to sign up. Being a volunteer with us, we want consistent volunteers. We want volunteers that want to help all year round.
Right.
It is sending 2 cards a month, though. That's not that much. You can knock that out in 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Or less.
Yeah. That's not too bad. Yeah.
But we have some volunteers that will send thousands, hundreds or thousands of cards a month. It's crazy. And then, we have a very simple report that we ask for each month back. Just basically saying, how many cards they sent out or packages and how much volunteer time, things of that nature. So, we do ask for that. If there are people out there that would like to send cards and they're willing to send at least 2 a month, please do sign up. We would like to, love to have you join our team. If people are interested in adopting a service member, we have some periods where we have a lot of troops waiting to be adopted. In all transparency, sometimes we have a little lulls, especially as troops rotate deployments and come and go. Sometimes we might be a little slow and we might have a little waiting list for volunteers that want to adopt. And then all of a sudden we'll get slammed with another unit. But people who are interested in adopting can do that too. If you do want to adopt a service member, we do ask for 1 care package a month. We do not put a minimum dollar amount on that because we know people have they're coming from all different places. Some volunteers even send through Amazon. It's not as personal, but it's an option as well, especially if that wish list has some bulkier interesting items on it.
Yeah, just a little easier to get there to the destination.
Yeah, we do ask the volunteers who adopt to also send some cards, just because we want them to continually get mail. People can make donations through our website. We need that very much, and there's multiple ways to donate. We have wish lists built on our website through Amazon and Walmart. There's several through Amazon. One is a care package wish list, and one is a wish list for military families. But the closer and closer we get to the holidays, the monetary donations are going to be the most impactful because the way our Christmas program works, we actually build a wish list for families. The selected families that we get this year, so far, we've had families across 9 states that we are helping. We try to start as early as possible. Oh, I want to back up for a second. I apologize. Also, part of that background check is to become a volunteer. We have told our contacts in the military that we are going to do our very best to protect our troops.
Yeah.
And so there's more than one background check that our volunteers do go through. There's no credit check or anything like that. We just want to make sure our troops are safe. We deal with special forces. We deal with all kinds of things. And if we're going to share names or addresses, we want to make sure that name is only going to someone that has been vetted, obviously, because we love our troops and want to protect them. So that is why we require the background check. So I did want to clarify that. because some people want to know, well, why? That's why. So our Christmas program, we start pretty early, but because we try to protect because they're still in uniform, we want to protect their privacy. Their service members are prideful, and we don't blame them.
Right.
And everyone is. There's no fault in that at all. And it's hard for people to ask for assistance. We want to make sure, mainly also because they're in uniform, that we do not disclose their name or identity. We create Amazon wish lists for each family. Every family is assigned a number, a generic number.
Uh-huh.
All of the items from the wish list come to my home. And then things are packaged up and we send them back out to the families.
I can imagine what your 4-year looks like with all the packages coming to you.
Every room in the house almost. So it is like Santa's workshop around here. We do that a few different reasons because all of our wish lists are built through Amazon. Mm-hmm. Not only does that protect their information from getting shared, but also it protects kids from not stumbling on maybe a holiday surprise.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because, Amazon will send, if you could have one big order and one item at a time just trickles in depending on which warehouse it comes from or a third-party seller or whatever.
Yeah.
So the last thing we want is a kid, opening a present and spoiling a surprise. That's another reason we kind of centralize everything and then ship it out to the families. Some of the families that are food insecure, we will help with grocery gift cards.
Mm-hmm.
What we do for every family looks different. Some beg us for food assistance. Some need, last year we had moms begging us to feed my baby. They needed help with formula that WIC, the government program, wouldn't cover. If their child was sensitive to a certain, needed a certain specific formula. We've helped with clothing. Clothing has been huge for the last 2 years. Very specific, needs. My kid needs this size, whatever.
Yeah.
And what we do is new clothing. We want them to have something new to open.
Yeah.
Because a lot of these families don't always get new clothes.
Right.
And winter coats, oh my goodness. We did a lot of winter coats for children this year and last year. I've gone ahead and sent a lot of them out because the weather's turned already.
Oh, yeah.
And it's cold.
It's cold.
Some of these families are in Virginia and New York. It's not just here in the South where it's still cold.
Right.
But those kids need, we got a lot of requests this year for kids' hats and gloves and winter mm-hmm. coats and all these specific sizes. And we've taken care of all of it thanks to our donors. But there is more coming. What we've done so far with the Amazon wish list, that's sort of round 1, as I call it, for Christmas. There's
mm-hmm.
a big round 2 that's about to hit us like a ton of bricks, and we need as much help as we can get from the public because we won't have time to fulfill wish lists at that point. When all the other programs, holiday programs, their deadlines have passed, there's nowhere for people to turn. And we want to help. We definitely don't want a military child to go without Christmas, or any time of the year, to be frank. But last year we had emergency family came to us on December 23rd, a single mom soldier of 4. And she had just told her 2 youngest that were 5 and 8 that Santa wasn't coming.
Oh, that's such a hard thing to say.
When I got the call about this family, I said, "Oh yes, he is. We're on it."
Yeah.
So, that's kind of where we shine, and the 11th hour, and we're only able to do this because of our amazing supporters and the public that believes in our mission and wants to help these families that just keep falling through the cracks. And a lot of times it's at no fault of their own. Life kind of throws a curveball at you. I had a dad this week. We were told by his chaplain he needed some assistance. When I talked to him on the phone, he was kind of hesitant. No, let it go to someone else. But we had been told, no, this is the need. This is the need.
Yeah.
So I kind of pushed a little bit on the phone, and it finally came out that his son was having brain surgery in 3 days.
Oh my goodness! Bless his heart.
And they were already very, very stressed, about finances and Christmas. And they hadn't even really thought much about Christmas because they've been so worried about their kid. And I told him, I said, look, because a lot of service members don't want to ask for help.
Right.
I tell them, think of it this way. This isn't a handout. This is our way of thanking you for serving. Yes. So let us do this to help you and your family so you can focus on your kid.
Yeah.
And be with him while he recovers.
Mm-hmm.
So, and all of a sudden, yes, please. And by the way, they need clothes and coats and shoes and all
Right.
these, all of a
Yeah.
sudden we built that list and got everything we needed. But we get a lot of that sort of thing in December. And the last thing we want is a service member having to tell their kid that Santa isn't coming, or
Yeah.
having nothing on Christmas at all because they can't even eat.
Right. Right.
Table.
Yeah.
We don't want that, because we know that there's a lot of amazing people out there that are just so generous, and if we know about it, we're not going to let it happen. And
Yeah.
so that's kind of our motto on that.
Well, I think it's wonderful. Again, that's one of the reasons when I hit your website, I was like, I got to find out more about this.
But we appreciate the opportunity for sure. And we don't spend money on advertising. We
Right.
have a social media presence, but a lot of people find out about us through word of mouth
Yeah.
or just Google search. And when they do, they're like, how have I never heard of you before? And I'm like, because we spend money on the program and the people, not on advertising or fundraising.
Right. Right.
Kind of also, it's kind of like, well, we kind of do need a little, we need fundraising. So it's kind of kind of bites you in the butt as well. But we really do. We do need help. I think people have really seen a need for what we're doing, because a lot of nonprofits shuttered during the pandemic and we grew. And most nonprofits don't survive their first 5 years. Well, like I said, we're closing out year 6.
Yeah.
That word of mouth is just spreading like wildfire among the military chaplains. Oh my gosh, they did amazing things for our troops, or my, this person in need, and they tell more and more and more and more, and it's exceeded. I mean, I'll be honest, it's starting to exceed our capacity. We sincerely need the public's help to be able to continue and do this. We need a warehouse space desperately.
Because right now it's your house, isn't it?
Yes. We have pallets. I have freight trucks that come up in my neighborhood, and pallets are in and out of my garage all the time. But because we are so limited on space, we often have churches and businesses that want to volunteer, or we have a service day or whatever. What can we do to help? And
Right.
we need the help.
Right.
But we don't have room for them to come and help. And so that's kind of our predicament at the moment. How do we, warehouse spaces cost money, we're hoping one day maybe we can find someone that would loan us some space, or, really believe in our cause.
Well, you never know what could happen.
Well, and another big challenge, I'll be honest, another big challenge for us too is, you talked about at the very beginning, the smiling faces on social media. It is very easy for us to photograph pictures of troops and care packages, or all those morale boosters and the fun stuff that we send.
Mm-hmm.
It is very hard for us to tell our stories as far as the families that we help. We cannot photograph service members in uniform receiving assistance. It goes against my understanding DoD policy.
It does. Yep.
Plus, they don't want to, even if it wasn't, it's not going to happen. The closest we get maybe would be children with toys at the holidays. We're having a real challenge we want people to know what we're doing, but how do we tell that?
Well,
Sorry.
I think
you're opportunities like this.
Yeah, I think you're doing a good job there. I think you're doing a good job on the website, because like I said, that was one of the first things that made me just kind of stop and look, because they looked like they were busy, but they were enjoying it and they were smiling. And, even if it's, like you have some pictures of the volunteers giving out things, that just encourages people.
Well, I appreciate you saying that. I think as the, CEO and founder, I always want to show more, want to tell our story more. How can we get our message out so people really know what we're doing? And a lot of people don't realize the extent to which we are assisting these service members and their families, especially because, like I said, we live in a world of photos, videos, and social media, and some of those things are hard to show. Yeah.
Especially if you're limited in what you can show.
Very much so. So that's why I definitely appreciate the opportunity today to kind of tell people about Friends of the Troops, what we're doing for the military community, some of these service members, their families, veterans and their families, but also just bringing cheer and letting people know they're not forgotten, whether it's through a care package or a card, whether they're in the middle of nowhere in Syria or Africa or the ocean or in Kentucky.
Yeah.
They do matter. We do appreciate our service members. We have a volunteer military. We don't have a draft, because these individuals are stepping up and choosing to serve our country. And,
right. Mm-hmm.
And they sacrifice a lot to do it. And I think we owe them a lot for that. hopefully there's a lot of people that believe what we believe and would love to support our mission.
Well, I just want to thank you for what you do. Thank you for what you do for the troops. Thank you for the heart that you have for them and for all the troops, National Guard, their families, the veterans. I just want to thank you for all that you do and all that you put out there. You know, your sacrifices. That is also just shows the heart of someone that has a true heart for our military, and just know that they are doing this to serve our country, and you're just wanting to help out the best way that you possibly can.
Absolutely. It's a pleasure to be able to be in this position, to be able to help these people. We hope to continue for a long time, and that depends on our supporters. So hopefully we'll keep it going for a long time.
Well, I'm going to definitely keep you in my prayers to keep this going for a long time. And I think get that word of mouth out there. And I encourage our JoyFM listeners to go check out their website, friendsofthetroops.org. Maybe if you can just volunteer, send in 2 cards a month. Cards have kind of gone by the wayside, but it's so much fun to get one in the mailbox. You open up the mailbox and there's a card just for you. That's why I like Christmas so much when I get Christmas cards. But if you want to volunteer to do cards, if you want to volunteer to do care packages or donate to help out for the Christmas gifts for the children, please go on the website, friendsofthetroops.org. See what you could possibly do. See the smiles on the faces that are on that website. Thank you, Ms. Duke, for being here with us today. I'm excited that I was able to have you on here.
Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Thank you, listeners, for listening. As always, if it matters to your community, it matters to JoyFM.